everyone is ready to hear more information, as all these schools so far have been truly amazing in presenting and sharing their wealth of information. So to conclude our morning K through 12 fair, we are joined by another personal favorite, Northfield Mount Hermon. So located in Massachusetts, Northfield Mount Hermon's guiding principles are inclusivity, community, and service. And there is Gina right on cue. And to speak more as to the joy and learning that creates such a wonderful community at NMH, I invite Miss Gina to just share more. Gina is the Assistant Director of Admissions at Northfield Mount Hermon, is a wonderful connection as well. And I know that I am excited for her to share what makes Northfield so special and an amazing space for your child to learn and to grow. So Gina, I open up the floor to you. You can share your screen. You can present as necessary. The floor is yours.
Wonderful. Well, hello, everyone. I'm really excited to be with you all today. I know we have limited time together. So I do have a presentation I'm going to share with all of you, and we'll certainly leave time to help answer questions. So I'm just going to get my presentation set up. If you could just give me a moment, and we'll get rolling along. But very excited to be here. And let me know if you can see my screen. It's probably not the screen I want to share. Give me one moment. Second. Okay, this is the one I want to share. Oh. Nicholas.
With me, I have all of those windows and the tabs up for me. So pick and choose wisely.
Okay, there we go.
Here we go. We can see it.
Perfect. You can see. Okay, great. So I'm just going to, give me 1 second here. Sorry, I'm trying to get my speaker notes up without sharing that with you because I want you to see the full presentation. It's so beautiful. Give me 1 second. You'd think after many years of Zoom, it would just, I'd figure this out, but.
It's okay. This is still me. Even today with the virtual background, it said something about mirroring it. And I was like, what's going on here? So don't worry. I'm with you, Gina.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Just give me 1 second. It looks like I can pull it out, but then I can't for some reason share that. Okay. Sorry, everybody. We will get started really shortly.
No worries. It's just building up the excitement. So I know that's what I'm doing on my end, just waiting in anticipation. So.
Oh, and I should probably do sound share as well, too, because I do have some videos on here that we're going to want to look at together. Great. And then, Interesting. Okay, I guess it's not going to let me share the full presentation. Okay, well, we'll just jump right into it. It's all good, my friends. Well, welcome to our session on NMH. I'm really going to start the session talking to you about purpose-driven education, which is really the mission of NMH. It was why we were founded back in 1879. And I want to talk a little bit, I'm going to talk really high level about sort of our mission and our vision, and then I'll get into the nitty-gritty sort of details and fun facts that I think a lot of you will be interested in. The first thing I want to share is that at NMH, we know you have big ideas and unique interests that are going to change and shape the world. But you'll have to ask yourself in your school search, can you explore them as you advance academically and prepare for college and life beyond high school? At NMH, we say, yes, you can do that. You can find an educational experience that will empower you to stretch your intellect and really deepen your compassion within a community that believes in your potential. And that's what we want at NMH. We want you to find yourself at Northfield Mount Hermon, and that can mean a lot of things. At NMH, we really seek to identify and nurture individual strengths so that students can discover their best selves. We want you to be a collective and transformative force for good in communities around the world. At NMH, our mission is to educate the head, heart, and hand of our students. We engage their intellect, their compassion, and talents, empowering them to act with humanity and purpose. And for all of you who are listening and watching today, I really want you to focus on that one part at the end where we talk about humanity and purpose. That's essential to NMH and really what we focus on. And so how do we do that? We have 3 values: inclusivity, learning for life, and service. And these 3 values inform everything that we do at NMH, from our academic life to our student life to our life on campus. And we'll touch on all of those things today. At NMH, we really believe that you have potential to make the world more equitable and just. But first, you need to listen, you need to question, explore, and understand the world around you. And we're going to help you to do that. So how do we do that? We do it through academic excellence. We do it through student-centered community, and also through citizenship. Now, a lot of schools will talk to you about academic excellence and citizenship and student-centered community, right? They're all really important things. But at NMH, we don't feel that we can educate for the head, heart, and hand unless all 3 are working together. So we're going to talk a little bit today about how we do that. The first is in our approach. So what does it mean to be academically excellent? It means that our approach fosters deep inquiry through research and critical analysis across all of the academic disciplines. Our students really examine the human experience from various perspectives, which is what we want to foster your critical thinking and to foster your passion for interconnected ideas. Oops. Oh no. Interesting. Now it's not letting me go through my presentation. Ah, there we go. Let's go back. Student-centered community. So how do we do that? We really prioritize our students. We want to use our holistic approach, which emphasizes personal growth, well-being, and extending beyond academics to nurture the whole person. You want to know who you are. That's how you're going to have a sense of belonging. That's how you're going to be able to give back to your community. So first, we're going to identify who you are. What do you believe? What do you think about the world around you? And then we're going to start having you think on a more global scale as well, too. And you're going to do that in a supportive environment where students excel academically, emotionally, and socially, unlocking their full potential. And then finally, citizenship, right? It was that 3rd pillar that we saw on the previous screen. So our focus really extends beyond the classroom. We prepare students to understand the interconnected nature of the world around them, enabling them to take on complex issues and develop comprehensive solutions, which is something that we hope that you're going to do once you leave high school, wherever you end up. Whether it's NMH or another school, you need to be able to understand the world around you and really tackle the complex issues that is facing our world today. And that, my friends, is education for the head, heart, and hand. So that's how we focus on that. At Northfield Mount Hermon, students are empowered to find their purpose as they stretch their intellect and deepen their compassion within their community. NMH is really going to challenge you to advance academically as you seek truths and knowledge. You connect with differing perspectives and experiences in meaningful ways. You challenge your unique talents and pursuits that will inspire and advance your own community in the larger world. And you'll work to implement change in service to humanity, right? I mentioned that I really wanted you to think a lot about humanity and purpose. It always comes back to our mission. So what will NMH promise you? Well, we have a few things that we promise our students. We promise that you're going to learn with passion, right? You're going to become a problem solver who strives to be a lifelong learner and for deep knowledge, forward thinking, and an innovative community. We promise that you're going to learn how to act with community and humanity, that you're going to understand that every action, big or small, has an impact on yourself, on others, and on our planet. And we promise that you will learn to lead with intention, right? You'll develop your full self. You'll become a leader whose ideas are creative and will make a lasting mark on your school community and beyond. And we recognize that leadership can mean many different things to many people. We promise that you'll find purpose in your potential, right? All comes back to humanity and purpose. going to share this video with you now. Liz, can you hear?
I think you need to make it looser.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Watch us. I watch us like get us before we go.
This right here, I would be careful about putting too dark,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Doesn't completely change his perspective, but
So where do we get a 2? Is it here?
Yeah, because F3 is 2.
Yeah.
They're way too dramatic.
But you're using your 8 Paulay. Killing it.
The setting of NMH is unparalleled to that of any other school. It's just an unbelievably beautiful campus, and it makes the academic life better because you get to wake up with this beautiful view every morning.
My favorite thing about Northfield Mount Hermon is the opportunity it's afforded me to not just be pigeonholed as just an athlete or just an academic, but to be able to expand my reach to be a musician and play 3 varsity sports and excel in so many areas of school life.
I came to NMH from a really small school, and I was really nervous when I came, but I think what has surprised me the most about myself is that I can expand the environment that I'm in, and I think NMH helped me do that.
When I came to NMH, I didn't know if I'd fit in. And I think something I've learned at NMH is how to be unapologetically myself. And I'm really happy that I've learned that NMH has supported me, because now I'm able to carry that into college and be able to be very comfortable with who I am as a person and what I love to do.
I came here and I felt grounded. I felt like I finally had some sort of anchor and security. I just love that feeling so much. Just everybody is just so supportive of you doing what you want to do with your life, and to provide any resource they can to help you get there. And that's something I could have never gotten in any public school or even probably most private schools. It's incredible.
You're encouraged to try new things. In fact, if you are willing to work hard and you push yourself to succeed, then you will. And I think that's an invaluable asset that NMH has.
To me, the head, the heart, and the hand has been central to everything I've done at this school. It's what really separates NMH from the rest of the boarding school world. Here, it's not just about educating how to act, but it's also about what your intentions are and how you treat your fellow students and your peers at this place and how you treat people in the outside world.
The opportunities you'll have here, you can't get them anywhere else. And I think that if I were to do it again 1,000 times, I'd pick NMH.
I love sharing that video because I feel like our students can just say it so much better than I can. All right, I am going to just move along now. Oh, let's see. I don't think I want to play this video, but we might have to watch a little bit about academics. So let's see, we can play through here. Or maybe, it let me go through. Awesome, great. I don't want to play too many videos, but I do want to dive into some fast facts because I know we have limited time. So let's talk about some of the fun numbers of NMH, just to give you a sense of the community and who we are. First of all, where are we located? We are in Western Massachusetts. So you can kind of see up here at the top of the state, we're in a really nice location in Massachusetts because we're close to Vermont as well as New Hampshire. So we have access to lots of communities that are around us. And we're also near the 5 colleges, which I'll talk a little bit more about hopefully later if there's time. The nice thing about NMH as well is that we're located next to lots of international airports. So there's Boston, there's Bradley and Hartford, Connecticut, and we're not too far from New York. I also want to mention that the Amtrak train station is very close to NMH as well. It's actually the next town over, which is about 10 miles from us. So students have access by train, shuttle bus, we have cabs, and also airports. And here's why this is really important. Because we have a lot of people that live at NMH. So let's dive into those numbers as well too. Right now we have 80 full-time teaching faculty. Our average class size is about 13, but it can actually be much smaller if it's an elective or a language course. Some of those classes could be anywhere from 6 to 8 students. Student-teacher ratio is 6:1. And we also have an advising program at NMH, and every advisor has 6 students in which they advise academically. So even though it is a larger community, it can feel very intimate and tight-knit because the class sizes are small and the advising is really small as well too. Most of our teachers have over 19 years worth of teaching experience, and they all have advanced degrees. Within the academic subjects that we offer at NMH, we have advanced and honors courses. And we also have over 170 different classes among the academic subjects. So you will never run out of coursework to take at NMH. There's a lot to do here. Who are the students that make up our community? It's very diverse. Currently, we have 630 students that are enrolled at NMH, and most of them board. So 85% of our students live on campus full-time. The breakdown by gender is pretty evenly split, 52% boys, 46% female identifying, and then we have 2% that are of a non-binary component of our breakdown of students. I said we're really diverse. We really are. Our students represent 35 different states across America and then 60 countries globally. So that is the most of any school that you'll probably hear from in your sessions. It's an extremely high number and we're very proud of it. And that kind of comes back to one of our 3 values. Earlier, I had talked about inclusivity. That's how we do that. We bring lots of different types of people on campus, and you really see that when you walk around the community. Students of color, very high at NMH. 33% of our domestic students identify as a student of color, and 23% of our international. So when you're walking around our campus, you see lots of different types of people that are coming from all over the world. So it's a really exciting community to be a part of and extremely diverse. Our students go on to some of the world's best colleges and universities. This is something we're really proud of. But I want to say that anything related to college is really individualized within our community. So students are looking for the best program for them, what they want to do when they leave NMH. So these are just a few examples of some great schools that students continue on to. We also have the largest alumni network out of any of the independent schools that you'll hear from today, and we're really proud of that. Very close to 30,000, which is really exciting. And most of them live in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic, and they are very closely connected not only to each other, but also to the community that is here. So it is very common to have alumni visiting us, walking around. We do a Head, Heart, Hand podcast that our current students love and actually help to produce, just talking about how our alumni are out making that impact on the world that we had talked about earlier. So very strong connections. So how do we do all of this? How do we serve this large community? How do we serve our students? We have a few distinct programs that I want to talk to you about today. Our approach, our pedagogy to learning. So the first thing that we have is our CMAP schedule. CMAP stands for College Model Academic Program, and this is how we function academically at NMH. This is our schedule. And so students take 3 core classes. They dive really deeply into those core classes. We have 2 semesters, a fall and a spring. So you take 3 core classes in the fall, along with some complementary co-curriculars or extracurricular courses. Those classes meet almost every single day for 70 minutes. And then in the next semester, you start again with 3 new classes. So we'll dive a little bit more deeply into that. But that is a very specific approach to NMH. It's been a part of our learning model for over 30 years now. The next distinctive program that we offer is NMH 360. This is a curriculum-based campus life program that extends learning beyond the classroom. We understand that learning happens all day long. It's not just in a classroom. It can be in brief interactions that you have between walking to classes, whether you're at lunch, participating in your activities, and it really allows students to share their ideas and their beliefs and their identities as they're learning to grow into the fullest version of themselves. And the last sort of distinct program that I'll talk about is our Connection 360. This is a network of adults who really support and guide our students throughout their time at NMH, helping them to achieve their goals academically, making sure that they're participating fully in life, campus life at NMH, whether it's through co-curriculars, arts, athletics, whatever their interests might be, and also any personal goals that they have. You live a full life here, and the adults really guide you through that process. So I mentioned the College Model Academic Program. This is the CMAP. We feel that it provides really rich opportunities for students to have discovery and collaboration within the classroom and to really have deep relationships with their teachers. Because there's only 3 core classes every day, teachers only have 30 students per semester. And because you see them almost every single day for 70 minutes, you're going to develop really close relationships with your teachers. And we find that that helps with learning for students. The teachers really know them, they can teach to them, and they understand their strengths as both a person and a learner. The other thing that I want to mention is that we do a lot of experiential learning at NMH. So having a longer class block allows for our classes to be interactive and to do multidisciplinary connections, right? So what we're learning in one class, we can really take into another part of our coursework with us, and teachers work collaboratively together to make sure that we're meeting that interdisciplinary approach. So how does the CMAP work? I talked about how we take 3 classes each semester. Those are full year courses. So even though you only have 3 core classes, you are learning a lot of material in a much shorter amount of time. And how are we able to do that? So we do that because classes meet for 70-minute blocks, 4 to 5 days a week. So you're going to be with the same group of people quite often who are participating in that classwork. There's a lot of group work at NMH. There's a lot of class discussion. There's a lot of lab work, hand-on projects. So if you are somebody who really learns by doing, NMH is the place to be. We do not lecture to our students. The beauty of this CMAP is that you can cover 2 years of a subject in 1 academic year. What's really nice for that is for students who are passionate about math, science, humanities, they can really dive deeply into that academic subject, and they can spend a whole year on it. And they can move through their coursework much faster, which means they can get into higher level classes, which is really nice. I already talked about how teachers really get to know their students, but I would also say the beauty of the CMAP is that our academic day ends around 3:45, and the remainder of the day is for athletics, arts, student leadership, service opportunities, and clubs, of which there are many at NMH. So we really want our students out participating in other aspects of their life at NMH beyond the classroom. This is just an example of what a typical day can look like. We have our 3 blocks, which are our A, B, D blocks, and then C and E are really for arts, athletics, and co-curriculars. So just to kind of give you a sense of that. Our academic day starts around 8:50, ends at 3:45, and then you move into activities, which go until about 6:30 at night. NMH 360, I talked a little bit about the curriculum-based campus life program that we have. This really empowers students to share ideas, beliefs as they grow and develop. This happens through group advising, dorm discussion, community events, and we also take time in our class day to really dive deeply into topics that might not be academic. So these are some examples of what students focus on in the NMH 360 sessions. We talk about building positive connections. We talk about how to manage challenge and stress and be resilient. We talk about citizenship and service. We talk about student culture and healthy relationships, gender, consent, healthy relationships, and founding and refounding a successful life. So see, these are some of the things that we're focused on this year. Connection 360, this is just a visual of what I talked about earlier. So these are the adults on campus that are really encompassing our students and are helping them with their day-to-day. It could be anybody from your dorm-based advisor, your dorm faculty, your academic teachers, your coaches, directors. It'll be people that you identify to be a part of your network and really help to shepherd you through your time at NMH. Stretch your intellect. I'm going to talk about the Advanced Scholars Program really quickly. We do not offer AP courses. Our classes go beyond traditional AP classes. Our Advanced Scholars Program are for students who want to take 500 level courses or above. That is college level classwork. Our courses go all the way up to sophomore year of college. And we offer more than 30 of these Advanced Scholar courses that you can choose from. To complete this coursework, many of them have a sort of project-based component to it. So they're very hands-on, very interactive classes. And students who choose to take the Advanced Scholars Program can take the AP exam. So it will prepare you for that. It's just going to go beyond it. And the instruction can be tailored to current events, which is why we like that. So part of the AP is that you're really studying for one test, but with the Advanced Scholars Program, you're learning the most up-to-date, innovative research and knowledge in any given subject, which we're really excited about. We also have a capstone component. So for students who are upperclassmen, you can work on capstone projects that you develop. You work with a faculty member who really guides you through that process. And these are just some examples of capstone projects that students have worked on at NMH. We also offer the Rhodes Fellowship coursework. And so this is for students to really think about a cause within their own community or globally. And they spend a semester developing some type of program in order to work towards that issue. How can you make that better? This is a class, and you do have to be an upperclassman to take it. I also want to mention that we have a really strong and robust arts community at NMH, and that expands through vocal performance, theater, musical instrument performance, and visual arts. So there's no shortage of ways to express your creativity at NMH. You can participate in many different levels. So you can take classes in the arts. You can be part of any of the student clubs or organizations. You can be in one of the many ensembles that we offer, whether it's vocal or instrumental, or you can do all of it. So it really just depends on how deeply you want to dive into your passion with arts. And these are just some examples of beautiful artwork that students have made at NMH and some of the performing arts ensembles that you can be a part of on campus. I also want to mention that NMH has a really robust athletic program as well, too. We offer 67 different sports on our campus. And instead of naming all of them, I'll just tell you what we don't offer, which is essentially football, water polo, squash, and rugby. Those are probably the only ones that we don't offer. I would say our biggest sports are cross country, soccer, rowing, if you're interested in crew, lacrosse, volleyball, and I would probably say wrestling is a big program for us as well too. We also offer ice hockey. There's a lot of entry points to athletics, so students play at a really high level here. But if you've also never participated in sports, it's definitely something that you can try. We really want our students to break out of their comfort zone in both arts and athletics and try new things. All right, dorm and residential life. I'm going to start moving pretty quickly because I know we need to open it up to questions soon. So Nicholas, feel free to keep me on track. I could go on all day. So dorm and residential life. Just a few fun facts about campus life here. As I mentioned, there are lots of clubs and organizations, over 60 that we offer on campus for students to really get involved outside of the classroom. And we have over 20 different affinity and support groups on campus for students as well. Performing art groups, there's over 15. I had mentioned 67 athletic teams, 3 levels of competition in athletics, so varsity, JV, and thirds, and 19 varsity sports. We have 5 student media organizations. So we do have a radio station on campus, a podcast. Media arts is just blooming at NMH. So if there's anybody budding filmmakers in this group, I highly recommend that you check us out. And we host over 50 events each year. So these are performing events for students. So again, there's lots of opportunity to showcase your talents at our school. Dorm life. This is just a example of some of the things that I love about dorm life at NMH. We have over 17 different dorms on campus. Some of them are really large. You'll see this picture here of this brick building at the bottom. That's actually 4 dorms in one. But we also have much smaller dorm communities. Our smallest dorm has 5 students in it. So you get to determine what type of dorm community is best for you. All of our students have a roommate. So we encourage you to live with a roommate at NMH. That's part of the learning experience. And one thing that we do have that's a little bit different perhaps is that our 9th graders live in what we call the freshman village. So we have 4 dorms, 2 are female identifying, 2 are male identifying. They're right in the center of campus. We really bring our 9th graders in. We hold them close. Their dorms are close to everything. They spend 1 year there, and then after they can choose where they want to live on campus. Student activities. Also, I hope you like this picture. I use it a lot in my presentation. There is no shortage of amazing student activities. Campus life is very exciting here at NMH. We host tons of weekend activities for our students. That's partly because we do not have Saturday classes at NMH. Because our academic program is so robust during the week and you're in long classes every day, we know that you need to take time on the weekend to be together and to be a part of the community. And as I said before, we really want you to break out, try new things. So if you are doing anything with arts, athletics, a lot of our students do both. You are going to be in rehearsals, you're going to have athletic practice, you'll be participating in clubs and organizations. All of that happens on the weekend, as well as fun activities that we host for our students. So you can see in this picture, we have a number of dances. We have a lake on campus. So in the winter, we like to go ice skating, have hot chocolate. We have a rec center on campus for students. So they get to hang out, play games. It's very community oriented here, and our students have a lot of fun. These are just some examples of things that we host on the weekend. So we have something called the Weekend Scoop. We send it out every Thursday, and it lets our students know what activities are coming up for that weekend. And you can sign up for as many as you want. Dining. So food is also a very important part of life at NMH. We eat really well. We do have a farm on campus that our students participate in that process of all of the produce that we grow and bring up to our dining hall. We have a whole farm semester, so you'll learn about agriculture, food sustainability, but we eat very fresh and healthy at our dorm, which is really great. We have breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. We also have grazing hours, so students can go to the dining hall, get a snack in between classes if they're hungry. But the food is amazing. From what I hear from the students, they're really happy. I put in a picture of ice cream because we do have a soft serve ice cream machine. And we've had to, only have it open 3 nights a week because if not, like we run out of ice cream. It's so good. But I want to just take a moment to speak to students that are coming from very far away. We know that it's really important to find your home away from home. And because we have a large international community at NMH, we spend a lot of time thinking about that and really how we bring students into our community and make this feel like it's a place that they belong. NMH has really been an international community since we were founded back in 1879. Our earliest graduates include students that came from China and Sweden, England, Ireland, Canada, and Japan. And this is way back in the 1870s. So it's just something that we're really proud of. We've been doing it for a long time, and we do it really well. As I mentioned earlier, today, 25% of our students are from outside the US, and they represent 60 countries. We have an office called OMA, which stands for the Office of Multicultural Affairs, and it provides a range of programs and services that are specifically geared towards the international community on our campus and their families. So they're very supported, which is just something that I feel is important to talk about. Our international community reflects our commitment to our guiding principles: inclusion, diversity, and social justice. We have a whole DEI component here at NMH that is a graduation requirement for students. We know that having a diverse community is important. It contributes to diversity of thought, to experiences that are integral, not only at NMH, but really preparing students to be those leaders globally. Okay, I'm going to wrap up and open it up for questions. If anything that you heard today excited you, if you liked the video, if you liked hearing our fast facts, our numbers, the way that we think about the world, educate our students, I highly recommend you look into NMH further. These are just a few of our admission requirements. Our deadline is January 15th if you're planning to apply. Part of applying is that you do have to interview. So you can do an on-campus interview, you can do a Zoom interview. We try to make it accessible to everybody in order to build equity amongst our students, but also we don't want to miss out on great students. So it doesn't matter where you're coming from, we will meet you where you're at. We do require recommendations. You need to have 2 academic and 1 personal. And also this year we are test optional. So hopefully that's good news for some of you. So we're not requiring ACT, SAT, PSAT, any of that, or SSAT, but if you have it, we'll certainly look at it. And for international students, if you have been in an international or English speaking program for at least 2 years, you also don't need to submit a TOEFL. So just something to think about. And with that, I will open it up. Did I do okay on time? I think I saved like 10 minutes for questions. Yes.
I think you did. I think we are perfect. We're in a good place. We have 9 minutes, and this was so comprehensive. And I see a lot of families have actually inputted a lot of questions. So what I figured is I'll choose some of these and I'll throw them over to you, Gina. How does that sound?
That sounds perfect. And thank you all so much for bearing with my slow start. I'm so glad we got the presentation going.
All right. So one of the first questions I noticed was a little bit about diversity and inclusion. And I know you spoke a lot to that, Gina. Can you just maybe speak to some of those initiatives and efforts that your school is maybe currently engaged in terms of increasing student of color population or even international students?
Absolutely. So I would say probably the biggest thing is that this fall, we actually launched a capital campaign. And so right now we are raising money specifically in order to fund our financial aid goals. We give a lot of aid to students, right? And that's part of how we're able to bring different types of students into our community and to have a lot of diverse learners. It's not always easy to afford a boarding school education, no matter where you're coming from, whether it's outside the US or if you live here domestically. So part of our campaign is to raise a certain amount of money so that we can increase our financial aid over 45%. We already give a lot now, but the goal is to increase that almost half within the next 3 to 5 years. Being able to do that is going to be instrumental for NMH because we know it's only going to get harder to bring people to our campus. And so to be able to help them, I think financially is going to be just huge. So I would say that that's something that we're really committed to, that kind of goes back to our original mission of, having students here from many different places. And not only being able to have them here, but to give them an incredible experience and not have there be stress about how do I pay for this and how do I do it for 4 years. So it's one of, I think, the biggest pushes that we have right now. And it's a really strong commitment that we have to our families.
Perfect. Thank you. And actually, speaking about international students, I know a lot of families like to ask this, especially your international families, is there an ideal TOEFL score that your team is looking at? And then in conjunction with that question, do you provide any sort of ESL language support for students, maybe with a lower English proficiency?
We do. We have ESL support. So if I didn't mention that, I apologize. But yes, absolutely. So that's one of the supports that we have for our international community. The other thing I would say, is there an ideal score for TOEFL? Sure, there is. I won't lie. I think anywhere, above 105 is pretty good. And students will find success within our program. But don't be so focused on a number, because it's okay if you don't meet the number necessarily, if you're a strong student, and knowing that we have ESL support here as well too. But yeah, you want to do well in the TOEFL. We do like to see that. Absolutely.
And then actually speaking a little bit more to standardized testing, I noticed that you said that SSAT is test optional this year, which of course is always good news to some families. Can you speak a little bit more to your team's decision on that? I know a lot of schools, now that COVID is a little bit in the background, they're going back to test requirement. Can you speak a little bit into NMH and their decision to still make it an optional choice?
Absolutely. We've actually done a lot of analysis on this. And one thing that we found is that students could score exceptionally high on an SSAT. And academically, it doesn't mean that they'll do well here or that they'll find success here. A lot of students do a lot of prep tests in order to get a specific score. And we know that they're working hard to do that because some schools require it. But we have found that we have amazing students here that go on to top universities and colleges, and they might not be great test takers. And that's okay, right? There is diversity in our learning. So knowing that, I think we just felt it wasn't an indicator of whether or not a student could find academic success here. So if you have it, it's great. But if you don't, as long as you're a strong student and you have a strong transcript, we find that we're able to look at that and understand who you are and the classwork that you've taken, and we will know if it's compatible with our school and our program.
Perfect. And I actually think that was an excellent segue because you mentioned defining success. And a lot of families here are, of course, wondering, what does success look like in terms of getting into NMH and then also prospering through your school community? So from an admissions perspective, you probably heard this question a lot. I've asked other admissions officers this. What's the most demonstrated quality that you would say your team is looking for in terms of potential candidates applying for 9th grade, 10th grade to your school?
Absolutely. So we want to see that you're a good student. NMH is hard academically. It's a rigorous program, and we really are striving for that academic excellence. So we expect that students are going to rise to the occasion and meet the requirements that are asked of them in any classes that they're taking here. So you have to be a strong student. We need to see a strong transcript. So somebody who's already performing well academically, you're off to a great start. Beyond that, we want to know that you're just a good human being, right? What do your teachers say about you now? Are you proactive in your learning? Are you participating in your classes? I think I had mentioned one of our values is learning for life. And so we teach how to do that here at NMH, but we want to see that you're already starting to do that on your own. So for students who are curious, for students who are in class and they're learning because they want to understand what they're learning, it's not just to pass a test, right? It's not just to get to that next level. It's because you really care what you're learning about. And teachers know that in the classroom, and they can speak to that in your recommendations. And so we're always looking for that. Like, how much are you really participating in your coursework now? That's going to be an indicator to us of how well you're going to do in classes at NMH, because I talked a lot about how they're very interactive, and you're going to be doing a lot of talking about what you're learning about. So you have to really care about that. I would say that those are all things that we'll be looking for within the application that are going to be good indicators for us. Beyond that, we want to see that you are somebody that cares about the world around you, right? I talked a lot about service. That's a value at NMH. So somebody who, it's important to care about yourself and your own goals, but when you come to NMH, you're going to be part of a much larger community. And so we already want to see that sort of community mindset. That's really important to us. So we want you engaged. Now, you could be doing things at your current school, and you could be doing them at a certain level, and that's wonderful. That will be a strong indicator to us that you're somebody who's really has a lot of interests and you pursue them. It also could be okay that you have interests that you haven't been able to pursue yet. And so talk to us about that. If you were to come to boarding school, what do you want to do? There's so much to do here. There's so much opportunity and new things to try. So being able to articulate that in your interviews and in your application is really going to demonstrate to us that you're going to come here and be a full member of our community. And that's really what we're looking for.
Excellent. And once again, Gina, it's almost like you know what I'm going to ask you next, because you mentioned service, and that's where I'm going. So in terms of service, I noticed that you mentioned that of course is a big tenet. It is a part of your mission and philosophy. Can you just speak a little bit more how NMH promotes service learning throughout the school? You know, coming in as a freshman, going into upper school, how is service intertwined into the curriculum?
Absolutely. So the way that we intertwine service in our curriculum is we have something called Work Job, which is the oldest tradition at NMH. And Nicholas, I know that you and I have spoken about this at great length when you came to visit, but it's really important. So I want to just touch upon it very briefly. One of the oldest traditions at NMH is called Work Job. And so when students come to our school, right away, they're going to learn what it means to be service-minded and community-minded. And so how do we do that? Students actually give back 3 to 4 hours of their time to their community on campus here. NMH is a large school, 630 students, you heard me say earlier. So in order for us to function smoothly, everybody has to participate in how things run at NMH. And so students have a real stake in that, and they participate in that in their daily lives. So that's one way that we start to instill that service component. Now, there's lots of work jobs on campus that students can participate in, and they could range from working in the mailroom to helping at the bookstore. We have a bakery on campus in our dining hall. So sometimes students work in the dining hall with food preparation or just cleaning. But whatever the work job is, it's really important that students participate in that. You have a work job supervisor that you check in with, and you work together with all of the students on campus. So that's sort of like the first piece. The second piece is that we have service learning opportunities where students can join clubs and organizations. Some of them are on campus, and some of them actually reach to the surrounding area around us. So you could do service in the daycare. We have a daycare on center, and I have a child that's there. And so students actually go to the daycare and help with the children, which I think is like a wonderful way to give service back to the community. We also participate in big organizations. One example is Big Brothers Big Sisters. So as students move up, that's an opportunity for them to show leadership. They can actually give service hours to this organization and help with the younger community. Another way that we do it within our learning is that for any students who are taking a language, there's opportunity for them to go to local schools and work with students within that language. So if you're learning Spanish or Chinese, you can go to the local school and work with elementary school children and give service hours to volunteer. So lots of different ways to do that. There's also when I think about education, we have a whole travel program at NMH. And one of the reasons that students travel is for service. So whatever trip you're taking, there will always be some type of service component to that. And that's built right into our curriculum. So there's lots of ways I could go on, but those are just a few examples.
Perfect. And, all I'm really going to add on to that is, there's so much to learn about NMH, and the best way of learning more, attend more of these admissions events. If you are in, the United States, book a tour, because it's so much nicer to even see the school in person. When I was looking at the PowerPoint presentation, even I was saying the pictures aren't even doing this justice, because when I went in the springtime, beautiful campus, beautiful space. So if you are able to go on campus, you should definitely do that. I highly encourage you to reach out to Gina's team. So it is 11:37. I know we're nearing the end of this, but I did see one comment here. One comment here in the chat, which says it feels like there's a lot to prepare for in terms of this application. And that is true. So at this point, I actually want to turn this over to Gina. I'm going to call this Gina's Corner, her own segment. Just give a little piece of advice. What is that one piece of advice do you have for families just beginning the admissions process at this point? There's a lot to prepare for. What do you have to say on your end, Gina?
So I'm going to say two things. One is a little bit of a plug for for NMH, and then I'll just speak more general. We understand that it's a daunting process, especially if you are just starting your school search and wrapping your mind around boarding school. There's a lot of schools out there, and they're all going to tell you that they're wonderful, and they all are, but they're all very different. So you definitely want to take your time and explore each one. And if you can do that in person, wonderful. If you can't, really dig into those online resources. If you're already working with InAmerica Education, you're off to a great start because they provide so many resources. One resource that NMH provides that we're really proud of is we host a series of virtual sessions that are called Mastering the Application. So Nicholas, I don't know if you were like setting me up for this, but I really appreciate it.
I did.
So we offer them now. There's sessions that are running all the way through from now through January, the January 15th deadline. So go to our website, nmh.org, and go to admissions and admissions events, and you'll see something called Mastering the Application. And all of the admission counselors at NMH host these sessions, and they are on writing a great application essay, how to get the best recommendations, how to show that you're engaged in your community. Really any topic that you can think of, we touch upon that. And it's not NMH specific, it's just for anybody who's applying to boarding school. So you have to do it through us, but we guide you through the process just in a general sense. So if you have questions about any piece of the application process, I cannot stress enough that you should sign up for these sessions. They're virtual, they're on Zoom, they're about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on the topic. So they won't take a lot of your time, but there's a lot of good information there. You know, we are the experts in this process, and that's why we host these sessions, and I would really encourage anyone to participate.
Perfect. So I think that is a great way really to conclude today's session. Gina, you know, it's always a pleasure speaking with you and hosting these events together. And I know that I'll be seeing you in October, so that's right around the corner. So super excited for that.
Thank you. I'm also looking forward to it, and I'm so grateful to be here today. And Nicholas, I just want to thank you and your team for inviting NMH to be a part of this. It's so important to us. We really want people to learn about our school, and I would encourage anyone that is curious. I don't know if you're sharing our information, but happy to talk to anybody that was on the session today.
And we definitely will. I see here in the chat, someone said, what's the website just mentioned? So Gina, if you have a quick plug, if you want to just put that in the chat for everybody so they know the website for the master's classes and where they can find admissions events, then that will be excellent.
Great. Yeah, just give me 1 second. I'm going to pop it in the chat right now so everybody has the link.
Right, perfect. All righty. And so then, Gina, while you are doing that, I am going to say goodbye to you. Thank you, of course, for your session. And so for